I want to be the person to let you know there is hope. But you can't wait for someone to come by and save you. And you can't wait for someone just to reach out to you with an opportunity. You have to be actively participating in the saving of your own life. If we're all sitting in a boat right now and the boat capsizes and there's like 15 people drowning, I'm the only guy that's still on the boat. I'm throwing life preservers out. You have to swim to one. If you're upset that I threw one out and you still have to swim 20 yards to get to it, so you're just gonna bob there like a fucking buoy until you drown, guess what? Maybe you deserve it.
But I'll know. And so like, even if it does go well, and even if everyone else says it's great, but I'll know. And it'll then rob me of all of the joy of all of those moments in that experience, because I'll know that I could have done better. And the thing is like, to quote myself from earlier, like I've never regretted working harder, ever, not once. And some people are like, on your deathbed, you're like, no, because I lived every moment of my day doing what I wanted to do. And I think in the early days, people are looking for the big carrot. They want the big vision. They want the big passion, but they don't have it. But I'll give you the first rule of entrepreneurship that I've learned, which is use what you have. And a lot more people have pain. A lot more people have anger. A lot more people have shame. And if you can use that as your gas in the beginning, you'll eventually get to a point where you can get out of that loop and then find something that you are really passionate about. But if you can't tie your shoes, you can't lift the weight, you can't send the DM, then you have to start with whatever you have. And so for me, it was hatred of my current existence. I hated being an entrepreneur. I hated being a wannabe. I hated being one of those people who like talked about all the things they were going to do and didn't do anything.
So sometimes life does give you life ambushes. That is the human condition. There is no person that I know of who's been so bubble wrapped, who has been so sheltered that they have made it through life without having their heart broken or losing a job or finding out a loved one has a disease. There is all types of ambushes that take place, and your creator has also empowered you and me with the internal tools to be able to help ourselves. But he's also given us free will. We have energy, and anxiety is all that energy that's unused. And then you feel bad, guilty, shame. You feel regret for not doing what you should have done to get yourself out of the muck. And so now you feel depression. This is your conscience knocking on your door and telling you, hey man, what you're doing here is not working. Yet you continue to get up and do the same thing. Wake up late, don't hydrate your body, drink coffee, energy drinks, sugary foods, processed, you isolate yourself, you escape, right? There's like all these types of different escapes. Entertainment addiction is an escape. Procrastination is an escape. Vaping, smoking weed, drinking is an escape. TV watching is an escape. There's all these different escapes that you have that you procrastinate and kick the can down the road. And you wonder like, why is my life all fucked up? And when you find yourself that you're fucked and you're living this life of like waking up late, wearing the same clothes, not hydrating, not eating right, not being a productive member of society, feeling guilty and shame and regret about it, and then having anxiety and depression, eating packaged foods, binge watching shit, social media, TV, pornography, like the cycle does repeat, right? And then blaming because, well, you know, other people have some advantage. Fuck you. Fuck you. No one has an advantage. Every fucking person has had a tough life, motherfucker. And at some point, you have to become an active and willing participant in the saving of your own ass. Like, no one is going to gallop in on a horse and save you. Like, there is no knight on a white horse that's going to come in and save your ass. Like, you are your own knight in shining armor, right? So know that if you've had a bad break, it's a life ambush, man. And you might be in this fucked up place too. And if you're in this fucked up place, you're not alone. It is the human condition. And when you get to the other side of this fucked up place, by the way, guess what? You've developed new armor. You've developed new tools of being able to cope through adversity and pain. New lessons that you've learned that you won't repeat those mistakes again. And in the future, you get to be a role model to others who are going through that.
But it's just when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And I think pain moves people far, far more effectively than pleasure does. Like the easy way to prove it is like point a gun at someone's head and you have absolute compliance and they will do what they need to do, right? Automatically, just like that. Like death is the great motivator and the gun just reminds you. And so I think that if you can create the figurative gun to your head of the pain that you're experiencing, and then I'm a big fan of future casting out negative scenarios. So people talk about like positive visualization. I prefer negative visualization, which is what if I keep doing what I'm currently doing for the next 10 years? What will my life look like then? That usually takes my current pain and then just magnifies it. And then that allows me to get my action threshold high enough that it goes over the edge so that I can take that first move. And so if you know what the inputs outputs are of what you need to do, the guy who has the little quote on his wall, and you figure out whatever fuel you've got, not the one you wish you had, but the one you've got, and you use that to do the first input, you've crossed the line. You're in the game.